Hello everyone and welcome to another Heffy Doodle video. I get asked a lot what I do when I feel like I've lost my crafty mojo. Does that ever happen to you? Leave it in the comments below what you do when you lose your crafty mojo. But I typically look online. I look to all of you. I look on social media, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and that usually inspires me to create something. But another great way to get your crafty mojo back are card kits, and a lot of companies have card kits now. But now Heffy Doodle has a card kit, and it's called the Wingman Card Making Kit, and it comes with the Wingman stamp set and coordinating dies and a few other goodies. I don't have the exact kit, but let's see what I can find.
Wingman stamp set and one Wingman coordinating dies.
So the card kit comes with the Wingman stamp set and coordinating dies. I have those.
One Unbeleafable stencil.
So it comes with one Unbeleafable stencil, also by Heffy Doodle, and I do have one of those as well.
White, black, aqua, and yellow cardstock.
I'm sure I can find similar colors in my stash. I have lots of black cardstock, by the way.
Don't judge me.
These may not be the exact colors that you get in the kit, but they're very close, and I think we can work with these.
Mini Distress Ink Cube in Shabby Shutters.
Okay, y'all. I really did think that I had shabby shutters, but I do not. So we're gonna have to do something a little different.
Okay, we're gonna do Bundled Sage in Distress Oxide. So I call a mulligan.
No.
And I'm kinda dumb, because it's not a do-over.
Finger Dauber, 2 Action Wobblers, 1 bottle, a finger dauber. I got that.
I currently store my finger daubers in this ice cube tray, and I've labeled them for each of the Distress Oxide colors.
2 Action Wobblers.
I had exactly 2 Action Wobblers left, so I have to reorder those. Those are fabulous.
1 bottle of Ranger Enamel Accents in Lemon Twist. How about a Nouveau drop in Dandelion Yellow?
I'm sorry, guys. That's the best I could do.
White crochet twine and a sequin pack.
So I know I have white twine somewhere, but I don't have any sequins that look like those, so I had to do, again, something a little different.
I'm just gonna trade my sequins and my twine for BoBunny glitter paste. Because I make the rules. It's my video.
I absolutely love this glitter paste, and it can be any color that you choose. So this is what we've got. We have a fabulous assortment of things to make a card, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do, so we're just winging it. Oh yeah, I'm winging it. So I've cut a white Neenah card base. This is 110 pound, and I'm using the Heffy cuts or the Heffy Doodle strips of ease dies. And I'm going to cut some yellow strips and the blue. The yellow is So Saffron by Stampin' Up, and the blue is Simon Says Stamp Sea Glass. And I think these colors are fabulous together. So I'm trying to cut these strips. And what I imagine is like a boardwalk. And I know that you can cut strips with a paper trimmer, but the edges of the dies make these almost look like planks. And so that's why I used them. So I'm just cutting So Saffron strips and Simon Says Stamp Sea Glass strips, and I'm intending to adhere them not in any actual pattern, but onto the background of my card base. These little guys are very wobbly in this process, so I did end up using washi tip to hold them down because they were trying to get away. So once I cut out all of the strips that I needed to fill the background of an A2 sized card panel, I coated it with tape runner adhesive. I'm trying to use up this tape runner, and in no pattern whatsoever, I just stuck them to the back. And then I trimmed off the sides so that it's perfectly A2 size card. Now we're going to use the Unbeleafable stencil. I plan on doing some ink blending, so I'm going to get out my my craft mat here. This can get completely messy, and I don't care if it stains. So I'm going to tape down a piece of the white cardstock, and I'm going to use my pinch hitter for the ink because I don't have the right colored ink, but I do have this Distress Oxide bundled sage. So I'm using the ink dauber that comes in the kit to apply the ink on the stencil, like through the stencil on the paper. And I'm really trying to get color variation. I'm filling an A2 4¼ by 5½ panels, so it takes a little bit of time to get it done. But once it's done, it looks fabulous. I love this stencils, and palms and the leaves and that pattern is super popular right now. So I'm going to wash off my stencil and do some stenciling with the BoBunny sugar paste. I wanted to make sure that my stencil was clean because this glimmer paste is very fair in color, so it would take all of that green ink, it would make it like green Nuvo paste, and I wanted the Nuvo paste to really sit on top of this color and almost lighten it a touch. So I wanted less green ink on my stencil. You could have absolutely applied it with the ink on it if you wanted it to be more green. But I didn't really want that. So I love this paste. Whatever it applies over top, it just really makes it sparkle and shine, and it's quite impressive. At this point, I'm going to set this project aside so that it dries completely. It doesn't take very long, but you need to immediately clean up your work surface, wipe down your craft mat, and clean off your stencil with soap and water and your tools, because once that stuff hardens, it will not come up. Okay, so I don't know if I'm breaking any rules doing this, but I really enjoy doing this technique, so I'm sharing it with you. This is my Cricut Bright Pad. Isn't it fabulous? And I've stamped one of the birds from the Wingman stamp set, and I wanted a second bird mirror stamped next to him as if they were high-fiving. And instead of mirror stamping, I break out my Bright Pad and I use the packaging from the Wingman stamp set to trace the opposite image of the stamp that I wanted to use. I hope that makes sense to you. It's just like mirror stamping, but without the stamping, and you have to have a steady hand in order to trace your image. But so now it looks like my birds are high-fiving. So I'm breaking out some of my Copic markers. If you guys enjoy watching, continue watching. If you don't like watching people color, you can skip 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Skip to 9 minutes and 35 seconds. I will also have a pin Copic color map on my blog at korenwiskman.com if you're interested in using the exact shades or colors I use to color these images. It's a handy thing to pin and save for later. At least that's how I like to use Pinterest. I have a Copic color combination folder on my Pinterest account if you guys are interested, and it's full of Copic color combinations. It's a good resource. Anyway, I'm just using my green and blue markers to make these birds as colorful as possible. I love coloring fun, bright, inspiring birds, and so that's what I'm going for. I don't do very intense coloring because I'm not an artist. I love to make cards, but I am not a trained artist. I'm self-taught, so whatever you see is what I've figured out from doing. But boy, is it fun to play with these markers and see what you can do. And sometimes I impress myself with the results. I really enjoy using the Copic markers. I also really love my polychromo colored pencils. Talk about a fantastic colored pencil. Okay, so this is the background that I created. I'm coating the back with scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive, which I figured out that you can rip easily. And that's a handy tip. You can rip it instead of having to cut it. Anyway, I'm putting that on a white A2 card base. And now we're going to stamp a sentiment. I know that I want the black strip to go across my panel. So this is actually Lawn Fawn black licorice cardstock. You get black cardstock in the kit. So I'm using VersaMark ink to stamp two sentiments. It says, "Thanks for always and being my wingman." The sentiments in this set are great, and you can mix and match them to create a sentiment that you want. I'm using Hero Arts Ultrafine White Embossing Powder to emboss my sentiment. After I heat it up with my heat tool, I'm going to take a Swiffer duster cloth and the oil from my hands to make my cardstock a little more black from my EK Success powder tool. I'm going to use the strips of Ease dies the way they were originally intended to be used and cut out my sentiment to fit in the center of the card. I want to have this strip go across. I'm testing to see if that's dry, and I don't think it was perfectly dry. I probably should have waited before I cut it down. I used my Euronext stamp stitched rectangle die to cut it down. And I'm using double-sided adhesive to adhere that. So I want to use this Heffy Doodle word die, and I'm going to use that yellow cardstock to cut it out multiple times. I believe I cut it out 4 times, and I'm going to adhere the layers together to create like a chipboard-like die cut word. I used the negative to keep the die in straight, I guess. This is Ranger Multi-Medium Matte Adhesive in a little blunt-tipped syringe. And I'm going to layer these all together, and I use my little pokey tool to be like a helpful hand in straightening those letters and making sure that the layers are all lined up together. So once I get all of those layers together and the die cut is one piece, I'm going to use my Nuvo. This is like a dry Nuvo brush. It's supposed to be for ink blending, but I like to sweep my word dies for all those little paper hairs that like come off on word dies and intricate dies. Once I have that all together, I'm going to put my action wobblers on the back of my birds. I'm going to pop up my sentiments. The strip itself is popped up with Scotch 3M foam tape, and that the back of the hay does also have a little bit of foam tape to pop it up. The action wobblers, I put 2 on the image. I know that I could have cut the 2 birds and then they could have been wobbling and high-fiving, and that was an afterthought. So that's a good idea too if you want to recreate that. I still really like the way that it turned out. I still know that we didn't use the yellow Nuvo drops. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it goes. So I'm going to just leave it off. Hope that's okay. Find Heffy Doodle on social media. We would love to catch up with you on those platforms as well. I hope you enjoyed my video, and thank you for watching.
They're taking the black stroller.
Why do you need a stroller? You have too much energy.
Where are we going?
To the carnival!
Where are we going, hun?
The carnival, not carnival. I feel like I was lied to. I thought we were going to Brazil.
Ferris wheel.
Yep.
Ferris wheel.
Yep.
go.
We got a play to win, and you're definitely going to win more than $1 and more than $5. This is all for the early
Well, we're in a dragon. And we're about to spin around in a circle.
We're getting high in the sky.
Hold down. I think Daddy weighs too much.
His name is Marshmallow. I want this one.
Oh, good job. Hit it again, hit it again. Hit it hard, hit it hard. The dads are on 5. Little man, you're on number 7. Mama, you're on 8. Water through gun automatically. On your mark. Get set. Here we go. Get her up in that hole. Get her in the hole, little man. Get her in that hole. Keep it going. Keep it there. Keep it right there. There it is. Number 5. Papa Will.